Let me start out with a verse. Commit your ways, commit your whatever you do to the Lord, and your ways shall be established. Siguro magandang way to start the new year at sa mga Chinese, sa Chinese New Year. Kay Mehan, sa inyong birthday, happy birthday. Ito po ang ating annual New Year thank you, which I've been doing since 2007, since I became a senator. And instead of a presentation or the usual topics, can I just say a 1-minuter na we really appreciate yung ginagawa ng trabaho ng media. Having said that, ang bawat administrasyon all around the world ay parating may honeymoon period. We accept and we know that despite the challenges in communications, the controversies of the Office of the President and of the administration during the campaign and now, let us know that so much has been done. Napakarami ng nagawa in the last 6.5 months. So the way I describe it is that the President is in honeymoon with the people in general, but undergoes turbulent times with some of his critics, whether they are well-meaning or not. Having said that, lahat tayo may role. Senador, congressman, media, lahat ng marginalized sectors, di ba? Urban poor, ang ating farmers, coconut farmers, ang OFW, may role at may advocacy yan. So minsan nagbabanggaan and healthy yan. Ang gusto ko lang i-remind sa atin lahat, may common denominator tayo. Lahat tayo ay Pilipino and lahat po tayo ay nagsasabing we are serving God and country. Diba? So having said all of that, I look forward to two things. For a honeymoon period for the Duterte administration, hopefully both with the people and with the media, but also more importantly, with or without the honeymoon period, getting things done, fulfilling promises, no? Showing the people that government can fulfill its promises, government can be there for you. So let me stop there and wish all of you a belated Happy New Year and an advance Happy Chinese New Year. So the floor is yours.
Sir, si Chief De La Rosa, anong pwede natin sabihin?
Well, unang-una, nung binasa ko yung kanyang reaction na natutunaw siya sa hiya na dun sa Camp Crame nangyari, I appreciated his gesture. I appreciated his statement or yung mea culpa na tinatanggap niya na yung responsibility. Now, having said that, walang perfecto talaga na campaign. It is tragic, it is so sad, it is inexcusable na gamitin ang isang programa ng gobyerno for abuse. No? Whether it's a tax program to collect taxes and then manghihingi ka, whether it's a program na linisin ang environment and then manghihingi ka lang para hindi pasara yung isang lugar, or whether it is in the drive against drugs, na in the guise na tinatanggal mo ang droga, manghihingi ka, tapos papatay ka pa. And our President has had this 1,000 times, doble o triple ang galit niya at ang penalty sa pulis o sa nasa gobyerno na gamitin yung anti-crime, anti-drug, anti-corruption drive. No? So I'm hoping that this will be a big wake-up call to all agencies that's subject to abuse talaga. But that abuse should not affect the whole program. And of course, to the family and to South Korea, our sincere condolences.
Are you going to support the calls for investigation?
Investigations are always good. Siguruduhin lang natin na balansin natin yung time to pass the vital legislation we need with the time to investigate. Remember, even yung time na ako ang madalas na mag-imbestiga, ang parang ko sinasabi, let's give the agencies, the NBI, the PNP, the DOJ, the Ombudsman, the opportunity. If they're failing or they need help, then pasok ang Congress. So, it's up to Congress to judge kailan sila dapat pumasok. No? Pero wala naman akong nakitang investigasyon na hindi natin sinuportahan kasi nakakatulong naman to, nakakasupplement. No? But let's also give the proper authorities the opportunity to do their job and to do the investigation. Of course, kung hindi naman pwede sila mag-imbestiga sa sarili nila. So to be fair to Chief PNP Bato, for example, he's always attended the Senate hearings, he's always welcomed it, and then he's always come prepared.
Sir, dito, meron dapat ba sibakin or dapat na mag-resign?
That will be a conclusion depending on the findings. I mean, who? Definitely, kung may abuse, especially ito may napatay, hindi pwedeng walang managot. Ngayon kung sino, hintayin natin yung investigasyon. Hindi naman pwede po na isang organisasyon katulad ng PNP, 150,000, or, you know, and we admitted naman from the start, the President admitted from the start, may narco generals. Inadmit niya na mababa sweldo, maraming na-temp. So, hindi naman pwede na pag may nangyari sa isang agency, yung head parate, sisipakin. But he has to take responsibility, and Chief Bato has taken responsibility. Now, the next question is, sino immediately, sino dun sa chain, no, sa organization, ang namamahala at sino pumalpak? Bakit sa loob ng krami? So all of these questions, hard questions, have to be asked, no, and have to be dealt with.
Sir, good morning. Joyce Manachiko from UNP. Sir, reaction niyo lang, sinabi ni Senator Trillanes sa interview niya on TV na meron daw pong namumuong plot to oust Senate President Pimentel at kayo daw po yung namumuong.
Well, unang-una, I have decided long ago, at kayo naman witness niyan, that Alan Cayetano's role is not to lead the Senate, but to serve the Senate and the senators. So nakikita nyo, pag nasa Senate ako, nilalapitan ko yung mga senador kung ano matutulong ko sa kanila, kasi gusto ko tulungan ang bansa at saka ang Pangulo. Si Senator Trillanes lang ang kaisa-isang senador nagsasabi niyan, because siya lang nag-iisip niyan. I was in the palace last week, and I told the President about my conversation with Senate President Coco Pimentel. Sabi ko kay Sen Coco, Sen, kung ang inaalala lang ng iba na baka mag-attempt ako kapag medyo nilinis ang ranks. This happened months ago, ha? Months ago kasi, nung nangyari yung kay Senator De Lima, sabi ko, baka dapat i-review kung akma, kung pasok. No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but fit ba? Perfect ba yung fit o akma ba yung pagsama ng Liberal Party sa majority? And alam niyo naman yan, di ba? That was one of the reasons why hindi ko nakuha yung Senate presidency. Because it was being offered to me on a silver platter, pero sabi ko, hindi pwede yung Committee on Justice mapunta kay Secretary De Lima dahil hindi investigasyon yung gusto o hindi patumbahin yung gobyerno. Meaning, hindi na siya objective pagdating kay President Duterte. And I mean that with no offense. No? I've said that in public, in the session hall. She has a different view. I respect that. No? So, sabi ko kay Senator Coco, Sen, kung gusto mo, pipirma ako, magre-resign na ako sa Senate. Total, tumutulong ako sa Pangulo, and pagdating ng middle of 2017, kukunin ako ng aking Pangulo para tumulong sa kanya. If ako ang problema and you don't want me in the Senate, sabi niya, pare, walang ganon. You're welcome here, kailangan ka namin, tulong-tulong tayo. So, kung tingin ni Senator Trillanes, ako ang problema, di sabay kami mag-resign, kahit bukas. Kasi ako, baliktad tingin ko siya problema sa Senado. Kasi nagiging yung atmosphere of camaraderie, even if you disagree. Diba? Nasisira na naman This has happened in the Senate certain periods of time. We can disagree, pero walang personalan. Ang problema kasi sa arguments ngayon sa Senado, ang ganda ng talakayan, ang ganda ng issues, biglang ad hominem, biglang personal yung yung atake, di ba? So pinag-uusapan kung sino may jurisdiction sa hearing sa BID, ano kilalaman nun sa mga aksyon ng mga senador o bintang sa mga senador in the past, di ba? So it's a figment of the imagination of Senator Trillanes. I am not attempting, and I don't have any plans to attempt to get the leadership. Senator Coco is trusted by the senators and by the president. And even if I do get to be Senate President, right now, masyado akong maraming trabaho that calls me outside the Senate. So hindi ko rin magagampanan. At anong gagawin ko sa Senate presidency for 5 or 6 months? If I'm joining the president in whatever capacity, no? I still do not know. But with whatever capacity, it's useless. Ay sisirain ko lang pangalan ko kasi wala akong magagawa within 5 months. I wanted it when I thought I had 12 months, no? So expect weekly intrigues from Senator Trillanes because that is his calling nowadays. But I wish him a happy new year, and I hope he finds something very productive to contribute or to do in this administration rather than creating intrigues.
Pero sir, are you personally satisfied with his performance as Senate President?
People always want more. Kahit ako yung nandyan, gusto nila mas mabilis lahat ng kailangan natin ipasa. Pero in so short a period, maraming nagawa ang ating Pangulo at sinusuportahan, and the Senate, I think, is moving. Now, there are some controversies nga because nga, nagvo-vote pa rin as a block ang LP. Yung actions minsan, it borders between constructive criticisms and wanting to do away with the Duterte administration. So, is Senator Coco doing a good job? Yes. Is he perfect? No. And even if I was Senate President, I also won't be perfect, no? So there's no unang-una, why judge him only after 6-7 months? Diba? Alam naman natin legislation na takes time, diba? So you can get a Bible now and I can tell you and look you in the eyes, there's no attempt. I'm not talking to anyone about that. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm not active sa caucuses, diba? Because I want to give them the full benefit of the doubt. I want to give them the full support. So sila na mag-decide. Supporta na lang ako. Number 2, I cannot see the point of having a caucus na nandun yung mga tao na gusto magpatumba ng gobyerno mo, diba? I'm not referring to the whole LP block, ha? When we talk about the LPs, we have to talk about them not as a block, but individually. Kasi iba-iba eh. Meron talagang yun lang ang prinsipyo, meron supportive sa ganitong issue pero hindi. Pero meron talaga na lahat ng gawin ni President Duterte mali sa kanyang pananaw. 1 or 2 lang yun. The rest naman nadadala. But then, they end up voting as a block, which for me is a problem. But I'm not being noisy about it because it's up to the majority as a whole how to deal with it.
Sir, sabi niyo kanina, may problema kay Senator Trillanes ang problema. Ano yung problema?
Ang problema, nawala yung constructive sa constructive criticism eh. Panay intriga na lang. Diba? So, hindi productive yon because start ng administration, usually you have a honeymoon period, benefit of the doubt, usually lahat ng pwedeng itulong. We don't mind criticism. FBR ay mahal na mahal ng administrasyon despite the fact that pwedeng very harsh yung criticism. He is listened to, no? Pero kung mang-iintriga ka lang for the purpose na itumba at iba ang ipwesto mo, hindi productive yun. At aminin natin, meron talagang ganon. And that's the nature of politics. Kaya hindi naman ako nagre-reklamo, no? But kung sasabihin sa akin ni Senator Trillanes, ako problema, pwede kong tanggapin yun. E di kung sabihin mo ako problema, sabihin ko ikaw problema. O isabay na tayo mag-resign sa Senado. Diba? Tutulong ako sa Presidente outside the Senate, tumulong ka sa bansa outside the Senate. Kasi pinapalabas niya, hungry ako sa power by wanting to have the Senate presidency, which is not true. Then let's test ourselves. I can prove I'm not hungry by power by leaving the Senate now and helping in a private capacity. Can he do the same? Can he leave the Senate now? Kaya ba niyang tiisin na wala siyang intrigahin sa Senado linggo-linggo?
Sir, may po. Sir, may mga calls the past days na umalas na yung LP from the majority. You already cited si Senator De Lima. So you share the same call or for at least LP or LP personalities
I will
of
not,
minority?
I will not make a call out of delicadeza. Because yun ang stand ko when I was running for Senate President at hindi nagbabago ang stand ko. So just because I am quiet on an issue, it doesn't mean nagbabago ang stand ko. I just don't think that I am the right person to speak about it. Kasi from the start naman, yun ang stand ko, di ba? Payagan ang mga gusto sa LP na tumulong because we need all the help we want and they're welcome. But let them imbibe the principles of the Duterte administration. Let them help, let them criticize on some, but support sa majority. Pero huwag ibigay sa kanila ang mga committees na pwedeng o natingin natin gagamitin not productively pero para siraan yung administration. Katulad ng Committee on Justice. So hindi nagbabago ang stand ko. Ang point ko lang, call ng majority yan. And although part ako, sumali na lang ako ng huli. So let them make that decision.
But you're okay with Senator De Lima staying with the majority kahit openly nag-aaway?
No, my stand from the start is that if they cannot support the administration, call a spade, mag-minority na sila. Diba? And when I say sila, individual decision yan. Then to be fair sa iba, sumusuporta naman sila sa ibang legislation. Ang point ko lang, dapat huwag mamangka sa dalawang ilog. Diba? Ibig sabihin, kung gusto mo talaga mag-all-out opposition, diba? Mag-all-out opposition ka. Pero magma-majority and saying pro-Duterte, pero sa lahat ng botohan, negative ka naman, lahat ng opportunity, ipatumba, hindi para mag-criticize, nandun ka. Eh, di ba? Para kang police na binigyan mo pa yung pusher ng barel. Di ba? So, that's what I meant by that. That's why, kita mo sa House, ang mga liberal na gusto mag-cooperate, nag-majority. Cooperate by being part of the administration. Yung liberal na gusto mag-cooperate pero gusto maging critical sa lahat ng bagay or sa most, dun sila sa minority. So yun lang din naman ang point ng mga observers na iba at yung point ko nung umpisa pa lang. Diba? Na dapat pag sinabi mong Senate majority, Duterte majority, PDP majority, whatever kind of majority you want to, iisa direction. And the reality is, most of the majority is going towards critical support or collaboration with the presidency, pero yung iba, sila din ang plotters against the Duterte administration.
Sir, the President has been stepping up his attacks against the Catholic Church. What do you say to that?
I don't think the President is stepping up his attacks against anyone or anything except against the drug lords. He's just, yun lang talaga ang style niya. Pag tinatanong siya or may context. That's the way he responds. It's like President Trump, no? Ngayon may controversy kasi yung ilang Democrats nagsabi hindi mag-attend. So in-expect ng Democrats, he'll reach out and say na hindi, importante kayo, sumama kayo dito. But nagulat sila nung sinabi niya, good, hindi kayo mag-attend, kailangan ko yung additional seats eh. So, si Presidente, ganun siya mag-argue eh. He pushes the ideas eh, di ba? So, I don't think he was talking personally to individual priests nung sinabi niya, tikman nyo kaya shabu. Meaning, it is something he would say to anyone. Nagkataon lang that the church was speaking and certain spokesmen of the church were speaking as bishops and priests. But yung respect to the institution, respect to the individuals is there, no? Except that as an institution, binira siya. So, remember that yun ang problema sa presidency. It's a one-man institution. Eh. The office of the president is basically the president. Samantalang the Catholic Church, although represented by the Pope, is formed by the different nuns, priests, lay persons, bishops, no? Ganon din halimbawa yung ibang mga organization na nakakabangga ng Pangulo, halimbawa, human rights groups. Almost everyone, even in this group, I consider myself a human rights advocate. Pero the way the President says it, kayong mga sa human rights, di ba? That's why what we're saying is that, there is a need for some sort of different framework or understanding no, when the president and the different sectors nagkakabanggaan. But it's healthy. Let's just not wag lang mag-escalate or bumaba sa personalan.
Sir, good afternoon. Ivy po from CNN Philippines. I just had to ask this for a co-reporter. We know you have since opposed the 5-6 lending scheme.
Yes.
Now, may we know po your reaction on Secretary Aguirre's remarks that Indians doing 5-6 business can be arrested immediately without a warrant?
Well, as you know, kung si President Duterte matagal niya nang nilalabanan ang usury o 5-6 sa Davao. Ako, 2012-2013, sa pag-iikot ko sa Pilipinas, nakita ko, pinakamataas na bundok, pinakamababang valley, pinaka-isolated na isla sa ating bansa, may 5-6. And to be fair to our Indian nationals, Indian brothers and sisters, hindi lang naman Indians, di ba? Iba-iba, no? So we have a comprehensive approach. The Duterte administration has a comprehensive approach. Together with Secretary Lopez, and I think pinost to ni Secretary Lopez sa kanyang Facebook, we met with the BSP, Land Bank, and meron po tayong 5 malalaking NGOs all over the Philippines na nagpapautang. Ang problema yung kapital at kung maaabot nilang lahat, no? And they're lending in napakababa, I think baka 6% a year eh. So 0.5% a month or anywhere between 0.5% a month to 3%. Yung 5-6 is 20%. More eh, kasi you start paying from day one, not at the end. Sa buong Pilipinas, it can be 30, 40, or 60 days yung 5-6. No? Now, the problem with some of the 5-6 is that hindi sila registered. Hindi sila nagbabayad ng tax. Tapos napakataas. So in our discussions, and a long discussion ensued when we were in Brunei in the state visit, nahalo sa discussion sa briefing namin yung instructions ng Pangulo na provide the capital. Kaya this year, the efforts also of myself, the senators, Secretary Lopez and Secretary Jokno, yung 1 billion na fund na nasa DTI for anti-5-6, it should have been 1 billion per region. Pero actually, Land Bank and BSP is willing to lend the NGOs who will be the one to lend. And these are only certain NGOs that have years or decades of track record, no? So, ang network kasi ng ibang Indian Filipinos ay napaka-vast and very patient kasi sila eh. Binabahay-bahay sa palengke, stall by stall, araw-araw yung singilan. Ang Pilipino kasi, pagka maliit ang bayad at everyday, magbabayad. Pero pag gobyerno nagpautang, hindi basta nagbabayad. Tapos pagka isang buwan hindi nakabayad, nahihiya kung hindi malaki bayad. So minsan hindi nagbabayad. So we have to reboot or baguhin yung mga programa to attune it to culture and circumstance on the ground. No? I myself have helped helped 100 existing entrepreneurial or micro entrepreneurs, tricycle drivers, jeepney drivers, vendors, have their own microfinance. No? So itong order ng Pangulo na kausapin yung ambassador, si Secretary Sani Dominguez is very active here. He has talked to the SEC to give guidelines and then sa BIR. No? So there's no conflict. Ang sinasabi lang ng ating Pangulo, follow the law. So whether Pilipino ka or foreigner, kung nagpapautang ka, make sure registered ka. Make sure nagbabayad ng taxes. Kasi kung hindi, subject to arrest ka talaga because you're violating the law. No? Having said that, we have to approach the problem with market forces. Pag nawala lahat ng pa-5-6, wala namang mautangan ng tao. Di ba? Mapapalitan lang yan, papautang din. So yung approach ng Pangulo sa 5-6 is actually much more comprehensive than it seems. No?
Sir, Zado Achola po, DZNF. Yung ibang senator, sir, may reservation sa pamimigay ng kondom sa mga eskwelahan. Sir, ano po yung take natin dito?
Yes. First of all, I am for education. But the education or sex education or reproductive health education should be sensitive to our culture and religion, no? Ako, I remember grade 2, grade 3, meron na kaming sex education but we were in a Catholic school, no? But it wasn't called sex education. It's kasarian. It was part of the subjects, no? Having said that, access to condoms that prevent disease is part of a program, no? Kasi meron ka talagang certain group na hindi mapigilan, at pag yan nagkaroon ng AIDS o ibang sakit, mas malaki pa problema. But distributing the condoms without a program or making the distribution open the way it's being sold now can create more problems than solutions, di ba? So, huwag natin unahin yung karwahe sa kabayo o sa kalabaw. Una parati yung kabayo kaso sa karwahe, no? So meaning, explain muna ng DH, ano ba yung programa? So, halimbawa, sa mga bata, pamilya, schools, etc., na magsasabing, we will abstain, naniniwala kami sa no sex until marriage, bata pa kami, hindi kami dapat mag-sex, ba't mo bibigyan ng condom? Bakit mo tuturuan mag-sex? Pero dun sa sektor na hindi makikinig sa'yo at magse-sex, kailangan mo turuan how to have safe sex. And it's a delicate balance talaga. But I don't believe in the two extremes. I don't believe dun sa nagsasabing, wag mo turuan at all, basta wag. Kasi it's not real eh. Talagang after a certain age, people engage in sex. No? Or some people. Now, yung kabilang extreme naman, na alam mo, yan religion, wala yan yung morality, wala yan, basta ibigay mo lahat. Hindi rin tama yan. Diba? Kasi mapupunta tayo sa kabilang extreme. So, baka the DOH, ang personal advice ko, take a step back, explain your program. So, in other countries, may condom, but it's not distributed. It is available in certain areas na hindi mahihiya. Kasi pag nag-survey ka, lalo sa mga teenagers, iilan lang ang mag-aamin eh. Most will say they abstain o hindi. So it has to be available, but it has to be available confidentially. And it should not be made available in a way that promotes premarital sex.
Last question.
Sir Sally, na-mention nyo na busy kayo sa activities outside the Senate. Part na ba yun ng preparations ninyo sa magiging bagong trabaho nyo after ng 1-year ban?
Hindi ko sure, dahil ang Pangulo lang may alam ko ano talaga ibibigay niyang departamento. But part to sa pagtuturo, part to ng pagtulong ko sa kanya. So I may confirm that maybe about half or 60% ng ginagawa ko has to do then with foreign relations or with building bridges. But not all on the diplomatic side. Marami din on the economic side. Some on the IT or ICT side. So depende sa ano eh. Some of it are assigned, some of it I stumble upon it. Diba? Ibig sabihin yung kasi plataforma o kaya kasama kasi nung ambassador yung may ganitong technology, pinakilala. So ako nakapag-send ng maliit na memo sa Pangulo or may event na may kasama. But I'm trying more and more to work with not only the secretaries but the undersecretaries and ASECs of the different departments. No? So it's not in conflict with any other senator who is working with the administration. So if it is in preparation of whatever, I don't really know. Ang Pangulo may alam. Kasi malalim magplano at mag-strategize yun eh. But kung ano man ang sabihin niya sa akin sa April or May, susundin ko naman.
So wala pang initial talks or offer ang Presidente?
Nung campaign, ang sinabi niya, mag-DOJ or mag-DFA ka. Noong January, sinabi niya mag-DFA ka. Ako lang naman, I'm being practical, without losing my faith, di ba, na malayo pa eh. 5 buwan pa, maraming pwede mangyari. Hindi mo alam yung pangangailangan ng gobyerno at that time. Hindi mo alam ang assignment ng bawat isa. Plus, I'm fully supportive of the DFA and Secretary Yasay. So, I'll wait. No? Kung sabihin ng Presidente, 2 buwan pa, o wag muna, o eto, dito. Alam naman niya capability ko, alam niya forte or kahinaan, at alam naman na ready naman akong tumulong.
Pero sir, ano mas gusto mo? DOJ o DFA?
Pinipilit ko na wag gustuhin kahit ano para walang disappointment at para mas madali ako makasunod sa kanya. Kasi pagka inanalyze ko talaga gusto ng pamilya ko, alam mo, part of my family gusto, semi-retirement sa national eh. Mas gusto ng tahimik na buhay. So, pinipilit kong walang gustuhin.
Pero syempre sir, alam mo naman yung kapag-dignity mo.
Marami naman sa, iba talaga pag sinabi sa'yo na, di ba parang sa inyo din sa media pag sinabi, ano gusto mo? Field, anong beat mo, o editor, o gusto mo mag-column? Part of you wants all of them, part of you ito lang. Pero may advantage, disadvantage eh. Pag editor ka na, wala ka na sa field. Di ba? Pag column ka, baka sabihin hindi ka objective pag may column ka tapos may nagre-report ka rin. So, ganoon din sa akin eh. I mean, you know, there's much to be loved about foreign relations, about building bridges, about foreign about independent foreign policy. But don't tell me there's not a lot to love about other departments that deal with presyo, with trabaho, kaayusan, even presidential commissions. Napakarami talaga.
Last question, sir.
Sir, dalawa. Yung isa is, kay General Bato, inaako na yung responsibility, nahihiya siya and all. Hindi ko pag ganon, pag inaako yung responsibilidad, may courtesy resignation. And two, may payo pa kayo kay Secretary Andanar kung paano niya mas may ipapaliwanag yung mga gusto sabihin ng Presidente instead of quarreling with the media.
Talagang inipon mo yung last two na pinakamahirap na question sa huli. Well, personally, I believe in command responsibility. Pero in command responsibility kasi may levels yun. So, I think naman that any head of any agency na nare-reform, hindi naman niya mapapantayan yung 100,000, 125,000 na personnel. Pero let's admit na grabe itong nangyari. So, ako personally, I'm not calling for his resignation because I know officially, I can see, I'm not calling for his courtesy or real resignation or irrevocable resignation because I think he's doing a good job. I want to wait for the investigation, and I think it is certain people under him that have to take the responsibility because malayo pa ang pagdating sa kanya. No? Ngayon, kay Secretary Andanar sa media, first of all, let me congratulate them both. No? I mean, Secretary Andanar is doing his best in an atmosphere where the world is changing. Nung araw, walang media, walang democracy. So, hare at reyna. Galit ang hare at reyna nung nagkaroon ng media o ng printing press kasi nagkaroon ng magdi-deliver ng news na walang filter. Diba? Dati kasi, pag yung hare o reyna, syempre propaganda yan. Nagkaroon ng media para sila representative ng tao, nagkaroon ng media, ngayon nagkaroon ng social media. So tanggapin din natin na ang mga media outfits, meron din may-ari, meron din completely unbiased, pero meron din na mga may limit. Even sa US, di ba? Sa US nga, yung newspapers pwede mag-endorse ng presidente. Di ba? So, we're in a period of disruption. So, it's hard for everyone. Nung araw, galit ang politiko sa media kasi bad ka tinira at sabi ng media, trabaho lang namin to. Ngayon, meron ilang media, nagagalit din sa social media. Pero sabi ng iba sa social media, ma'am, sir, trabaho din naman namin to eh. Kayo nag-check sa politiko, kami naman mag-check. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're too harsh. Diba? Because it's easier to criticize someone, do your job well. It's hard to do their job. I don't envy your job. So I don't envy the job of Secretary Andanar. I don't envy your job. Hindi ko kaya trabaho nyo. No, to report the news, to be there 24/7, to interpret ano ba talaga ang ibig sabihin nitong ganyan, no? So, having said that, I would rather na nagkakabanggaan ang Malacanang press corps and ang officials ng Malacanang, kaso na nagkukunsyaba sila. Kasi pag smooth masyado yung relationship ng media at ng politiko, ibig sabihin perfect yung administration or either co-opted ng media yung administration or co-opted ng administration yung media. So ladies and gentlemen, lalo dun sa mga may ibang outfit na naka-live ngayon, yes, minsan disturbing or unsettling na may gulo between media and the politicos or the public servants, but it's better. So I think Secretary Andanar should read well yung sinabi nung Malacanang press corps, but I think Malacanang press corps should also understand yung trabaho ni Secretary Andanar and understand we're in a period of transition, of disruption. No? And let me just add, no? That's also the reason why the Americans and the American leaders and some of the Western governments are having a hard time now kasi may disruption eh. Panahon ng Asia eh. Hindi pa nila matanggap eh sa geopolitics. Nasanay sila for more than a century na ang US at ang mga puti, ang Europe, ang leaders. But the powers are shifting to the east, the powers are shifting to Asia. And any disruption causes problems. Do you think Nokia went quietly to the night and ngayon nagka-comeback, di ba? Do you think landlines went quietly into the night nung nagkaroon ng cellphone, di ba? Do you think Samsung with its problems with which I was an avid fan of, yung Note, will just go quietly? No, may disruptions na nangyayari. And disruptions are good dun sa nakikinabang sa disruption. So let's say Apple, when they disrupted the music industry, when they disrupted the phone industry, it was good for them. But for their competitors, hindi. So in a friend, we are allies and friends to the US and to Europe, but in a sense, Asia is also a competitor to Europe and the US, and we're disrupting. Asia is disrupting that. But look at the recent successes of our president. The visit to China and Japan, and the visit of Prime Minister Abe here, the successive visits of high-level officials of China, of the Russian warship, of the pending trip to Russia. The president will be a special guest to some international multilateral gatherings around the world na usually hindi guest ang Pilipinas. So these are victories that we have to harness. Kasi ibig sabihin, nandyan na yung pera, nandyan yung ibibigay sa atin, but how do we make use of it? No? So continue to criticize, continue to report the news, but let's all accept na may changes that are ongoing and we just have to deal with it. So thank you.